People, I'm going to show you how to rekey a Schlage lock. Fairly simple. It's very helpful if you have a follower. I'll show you what this is in a minute. You can buy these online or you can make them. It's probably cheaper to go into the box store and pick one up. You don't need to, but you're going to risk knocking your pins all over the floor, and it might be difficult to do the job, but you can recover. I posted another video on how to recover using tweezers, popping the strings and the top pins back in, but let's just go on with the video. Hey, if my videos help you out, please do a thumbs up, a subscribe, or a like. If you want me to review something, if I can get a hold of it, I will. If you want to leave a donation to my channel, ask for my PayPal info. So here we have a odd style Schlage doorknob lock, and I've removed the doorknob. If you don't know how, you put the key inside the lock and then you turn the handle, and there's a little opening over there. You press the pin with your nail or a screwdriver and then pull, and the lock will come off, or the knob will come off. So I'm going to pop this thing out of the front. Okay, so I've got a lock here, and what I'm going to be doing, this is a temporary job. Some vendors are going to be coming over to this person's house, and they don't want the regular lock, they don't want the people to have access to the regular keys. So this is going to be rekeyed for about 4 days, and then it's going to go back to the regular keying. They only need access to the front door, so the other locks are going to remain the same. And this is the only lock that's going to be changed. On the back of this thing we have a little C-clamp. And you got to be careful with these things. They can go flying across the room. So sometimes you can pull these away a little bit and get your screwdriver in the top. Other times you just have to do something like this. See how I've got my thumb over here in case it goes flying across the room? And you see now it's spinning. They make a tool to do this, but you don't need a tool. You can get this thing off. You just have to get it in a good position to stop it from turning. Sometimes 2 screwdrivers make it easier, which I might have to do in a minute, because this thing's just going to keep turning. Okay, so here we go. Got the second screwdriver, and this is the other way you do it. You press on both sides. Try to get that gap to come up on the top so you can put a screwdriver in there and pry it loose. So I'm going to line this thing up, put one screwdriver on one end, one screwdriver on the other, and wiggle a little bit. Try to get it to come away. You know, a lot of these videos, they cut away, and a lot of people get pissed off because my videos go on forever, but they show you real-life situations. So if you don't want to watch, turn it off. That's how I look at it. Okay, so let's get this back on here. It's turned partially, that's why it's not going right now. Make sure you don't jam this thing in your finger. Screwdriver on the finger definitely hurts. Okay, this shouldn't be that hard to do. It's that hard to do. Alright, let's get this thing turned a little bit. Now let me try it. There it goes, there it goes, there it goes. Alright, oh! Alright, it's popped up and then it popped back down. Alright, it's up, it's up. I don't know if you can see the little gap over there. Hopefully it doesn't pop down. Put the screwdriver in there, wiggle a little bit. It should come off. There it is. So that is the clamp. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take your key. Where is my key? Okay, you're going to take your key and you're going to pop it in the lock. And then you're going to pop a follower on there. So we've got the key in the lock. Is this follower even going to work on this lock? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's going to work. That follower is not going to work. Let me get a different follower. The thing that's weird is this lock has got a weird shape to it, and I don't have a follower that works. So what normally happens is the pin is going to go dropping down into this little gaposis, and then you've got a real problem. But let's see if we can make this work. You can see how I filed this follower to try to make it work. It's just a big... It's a nightmare. It's a real nightmare. But those are the only followers I have. So let's see if I can get this on here. And there we go. And by doing that, I keep the top pins and the spring inside the lock. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to... There are 5 pins in there. You might have a 6-pin lock. There might be 6 pins. So I'm going to remove all of these pins. Then I'm going to tape them down onto a card so that I can replace them later. And then after I do that, I'll show you how to put pins in for a new or a different key. Now, this is just a spare key that we grabbed and have 3 copies of. So the you look at the depths of the cuts, that's the deepest one. And it looks like the 3rd pin is the shortest one. So what you do is you get your key. And you can buy pinning kits. I did a video on how to do a pinning, repinning of a lock. But this is just a shorter version. So the longer one obviously is going to be the first one. So I've got the pins here, which they used originally before the lock was rekeyed. And the red one looks like it is the longest pin, so let's put it in, and you can see that it is flush with the top, or almost flush with the top. So that would be the pin that should be in there. Is that the right thing? Yeah. Looks like the 4th one is also a red, I believe. Let's check that out and see. Nope, that's not right. So it's not the red. I'm going to take the red out here and see if it goes into the 4th one. Nope, that's too short. So the red does go into the 1st one. Let's go with this gold here, which is a fairly long thing, and see if that goes into the 4th. Nope, that does not go into the 4th. Hopefully these pins are right. I don't, they were given to me. I don't know if they're right. That looks like it's right. Oh, the green. The green is the 4th one. There we go. So we're almost at the top over there. So we got the green. And the silver looks a little shorter, so the silver would be the 3rd one. All you're doing is you're putting the pins in to make sure that they are level, so that when you have the right key and the pins go up in the right direction, and the cylinder is able to turn in the lock. Okay, so let's put this one in. Okay, so that's it. So I've got 2 locks I have to do like this. So what you do now, you've got your 5 pins keyed. You got to be really careful here because you don't want to screw up and knock all your springs and upper pins out. If you do, I'd put a video on my channel on how to fix that. But you really don't want to do that. Not fun at all. Oh boy. I might be running into problems here. Nope. I was able to get it done. Okay, so we take off the follower. Lock the key. Be careful. See what I'm doing? You don't want the cylinder to come out before. Okay, so now all the pins are in there. It's not going to come apart. Take the C-clamp, be careful, because just like taking it off, when you put it on, this thing could go flying across the room, and then you've got a lock that you can't use. And that's not good. Alright. And it doesn't want to go on. They make tools for this, but you shouldn't need them. Ugh. Ow. And you take the screwdriver and you press down over here to make it snap in place without hurting your fingers. There it goes, locked in place. It turns. It's locked in place. Now, when you put the key in, turns. Got another key they gave me. Turns, kind of tight, but it turns. Other key they gave me. And it turns. So that's how you rekey a lock. Then you take this thing and you get your doorknob. You squeeze down on here a little bit. You press down. Not all of these have a cylinder like this. A lot of the Schlages are a little easier in how you have to do this. Then you pop it back in the doorknob. So what you're going to have to do is put this thing back on the doorknob, turn it, so you can press that little button in that's on the lock, and it should lock in place. Again, if my videos help you, thumbs up, subscribe, and a like. I would appreciate it. Thanks for watching. So I just posted a video on how to rekey a doorknob lock, and now I've got a deadbolt over here. So it's a Schlage, and it's I've also posted a video if you want to check my channel on how to do a hole rekeying with a pinning kit. But this video is going to be, I've got somebody who is going to be having some vendors come over and do some work, and they're going to need a key for a couple days, and they really don't want them to have a key that's going to, they don't want to rekey the house, the whole house, and then have to rekey it again. So what they're going to be doing is they're giving them the old key that they saved, and they saved the old pins when they rekeyed the lock. If you don't have the old pins, you can buy a pinning kit. And so what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking this lock apart. Sorry, that was the dog that was over there. I'm going to be taking this lock apart. I'm going to be putting the old key in to remove the pins. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm going to rekey it to this old key, which they will be using for just 3 or 4 days, and then after the job is done, they're going to have me rekey it back to the original. That way they don't have to rekey all the locks in the house. They're just going to change one, the deadbolt and the doorknob in the front. So, like any standard lock, you just have to figure out how you're going to take this thing apart. Not too hard to do. It's fairly self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but with this, looks like I just take a screwdriver, pop it up here, take this off, take the screw out, remove the cylinder, and then we'll get down to the real business at hand. So I think with this one, it is strictly just taking off this plastic cover. Is that what I'm doing? Just go slow. Be really careful when you do this stuff. You don't want to break anything. It's the whole catch. You definitely don't want to break stuff. I'm going to take off the screw that's over here first to see what I need to do. Because that screw's going to have to come off anyway, so take it off the screw. And if you want to, you can take a photograph with your cell phone, or you can put little markings on there, like I have done. So the screw was the way to do this. The cylinder comes out, and now we've just got the cam on the back. We got to take the cam off. So with this, it looks like you just pull on this thing. I'm going to go in there and pry a little bit so I don't do any damage. But you just go in there and pry this thing off. Your lock might vary on how that works. And so we have a little pin over here. See that little pin? So you're going to take a screwdriver. I think this lock only goes in, it only tightens down so much, so I don't really have too many options with it. But you press down on that pin, and you take off your cam. And you take this, be really careful with this one. You've got this pin over here. You lose this, you're in trouble. Remember how this comes out also. Short little piece on the back. I'm going to run out of battery soon. Let me see if I can get this video done in time. There's a spring in here. You don't want to lose that spring or you have to go out and buy a new lock. So what you want to do now is take your old key. You're going to take this old key. You're going to take the old key and you're going to pop it in the lock. Then you're going to turn the key. You don't want the pins to be, you want the key to be sideways, 90 degrees. And then you're going to take a follower. Hopefully you've got a follower. If you don't, you're in trouble. A follower, all that does is it keeps the top pins and the springs in the lock. And you're just going to take this thing and slide it off. And that's not working right. This might not be the right follower. It should be the right follower. There it is. If you mess this up, then check my videos out. I show how to put the springs and the pins back in. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your pins out. If you're going to rekey again, you want to save these pins in a, you can tape them down on a card if you want to, so you don't have to figure out the order. Just measure them later. Just do it by chance. Or if you're just going to rekey, then you throw these pins away and grab some new pins. So I'm going to take these out. Right, so we're going to take the new key, or the replacement key. Again, if you don't have pins, go buy a pinning kit. I posted a video on a pinning kit. I just rekeyed one, so you can check out my videos if you want to watch how I did the doorknob, but I've already got the 5 pins out, so I put them in order so I don't have to waste time showing you how to do this again. And what is happening is I'm putting these pins in when they're the right pins. They're, ooh, you don't want the point facing up, or you're not going to get this lock opened. You want the flat on the bottom, the flat on the top. And what ends up happening is when the key is the right depth and the pins are the right size, the cylinder turns in the lock and it opens it up. So, putting all the pins in there, make sure the flat is on the top, and then I'm going to go back and slowly, carefully, so you don't throw these springs and top pins around, like I almost did. Go back and put this thing back in. It's trying to catch. This is not the right follower. And that is how you rekey a lock. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the spring back in here. I'm going to put the pin back in here. That's why I've got a paper towel here. You can also use cloth so things don't go rolling around and flying around the room, and then you've really got a real problem. Make sure you get the pin to pop out of that little hole between the spacer. Get a paper clip or a screwdriver, press the pin down, start turning. Go slow. You don't want to damage the threads. You don't want to cross thread anything. Just take your time. We'll put this thing on. If it's not too tight, then the lock is going to flop around and your key's not going to come out. If it's too tight, the key's not going to turn. Press the pin in. Keep turning as far as you can. Okay, the washer is kind of jumping around, so the pin wasn't pressing through. So again, you want it almost tight, but not 100% tight that the lock's not going to turn. Let's check it now. That's very tight. I don't know if it's even going to turn. No, it's not going to turn. See? Okay, that's too tight. So I'm going to back it off 1 notcheroo. I'd like to get the key out of here, if I can. Ugh. I'll back it off just 1. I made that really tight. Okay, that's a little looser. Let's see what happens here. It's kind of a messed up lock. It's kind of binding. The pins are kind of binding right now, as you can hear. The keys are kind of worn. The pins aren't that great, but this is just a temporary thing. So we've got 2 keys that are working. Put the 3rd key in. So that's how you rekey a lock. You just put the thing back together again. We'll go put the cylinder in there. I'm gonna go slow. You don't want to strip the screw over here, cheap metal in the back of the lock. Get the screw in there. And then the final part is I'm going to be putting, I think it's called a cam. I'm going to be putting that piece back on. And if it doesn't work, you know, if it doesn't turn your lock, then you've got it in the wrong position. That's why sometimes you want to put little markings on there. You see I've got red over here. I've got red over here, which tells me it's the bottom. I've got a little piece of red over here, which tells me that this should line up. It should all line up. And that's how it would go. You'd see, see? Red, red, and the red. Press it down, turn this in the right direction, put it back in the deadbolt in the door, and that's how you rekey a deadbolt for Schlage. Thanks for watching.